The United States has been heavily linked with Patrick Vieira as their next manager, which means we've got to take a look at his qualifications. Is he actually the right man for the job, or is this just a massive overcompensation to make up for Gregg Berhalter? We're going to talk about that next here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. Is just being different than Gregg Berhalter really a qualification? How about having coached but not having all that much success at it? Is that a qualification? How about winning a World Cup? As a coach, it would be. As a player, not necessarily a qualification. Patrick Vieira's resume is long, but I'm not sure any of it applies to coaching the United States men's national team. So we're going to talk about that today, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get down in that comment section. What do you think about the links between the United States and Patrick Vieira? Is he the guy for the job? Are you happy about this? Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter at Pitchside Pub and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So Patrick Vieira is being pretty heavily linked with the United States men's national team, and he is a big name. He's a big name, he's a big guy, he's a big personality. And that is part of what a lot of fans have been clamoring for. They don't want another MLS guy. We don't generally put a lot of respect on MLS coaches. We want someone who has gone over and proven it in Europe, proven themselves, proving their coaching acumen in Europe. And Patrick Vieira has, in fact, been a coach in Europe. In fact, he's coached the Premier League. But he hasn't done it all that well. And so I have concerns about his coaching resume as a qualification here, because is having coached at 3 or 4 different spots but not having done it all that successfully really a qualification? Now, we can argue that one of the best candidates that everybody was clamoring for was Jesse Marsch, myself included. And his Premier League experience didn't actually go all that well, although I would argue a lot of that has to do with Leeds itself and the way they helped build him a team. But he had not had a lot of success, at least in the Premier League, although he had at other stops throughout Europe. Patrick Vieira has bounced around a lot and has not been all that successful. His coaching career has not reflected his playing career. And I want to talk about that because one of the arguments for Vieira would be that, he will command respect because of what he did on the pitch. He is a World Cup winner. That is not something a lot of people can say. That is certainly not something we've ever been able to say about an American manager, at least a U.S. men's national team manager. But I want to make my opinion on this very clear. Being a good player does not in any way make you a good coach. Wayne Rooney, terrible coach, right? Frank Lampard, his coaching resume is not good. These are great players, and they're probably guys who know the game pretty well. It doesn't make you a good coach. We also have clubs throughout Europe littered with coaches who were not overwhelmingly great players. They all played professionally, or most of them did, but they were not overwhelmingly amazing players. There is no correlation. This is not just a football argument. This is a sports argument. There has been, over the history of sports, over 100 years, there has been little to no correlation between having been a world-class, elite-level player and having that translate to coaching ability. None. Zero. So, yes, the players would respect him because of what he did on the pitch, but that's as far as that goes. That does not in any way make him a good coach. We have to look at his resume on the pitch, or in the technical box, while his teams are on the pitch, I should say. And I want to break this down for you, but Stu Holden actually did a great job of it, and so I'm just going to go off of what he did, because he did a fabulous job on Twitter breaking this down. So Vieira started in MLS, which, sort of kills the argument of not wanting an MLS manager, but he was only with New York City FC for a little while. He had a little bit of success, but they did better after he left. Then he went to Nice, had a little bit of success the first year, and then it was downhill very quickly after that. Crystal Palace, same sort of blueprint. They had a little bit of success for them, but he didn't last very long, and the performance got worse. And he left them in a worse state than when he had arrived, and that's not a good thing. Then he's at Strasbourg, young squad. They did not give him enough funds to work with. They did not give him enough talent to work with, and he is now once again leaving. So he has not been at any one place very long, and he has not had any success at any of his stops. Now, there are definitely extenuating circumstances in a number of those jobs. They are not all Vieira's fault, and I'm not actually saying that he's not a good manager. I don't think this is like a Wayne Rooney situation where he's been utterly disastrous at every stop and somehow keeps getting hired. I don't know that Patrick Vieira is a bad manager. I just don't know that he's proven that he's a good one yet. And I feel like we need to set the bar higher than that. And I feel very strongly that his lack of proof on the pitch as a coach is being massively overcompensated for by his tremendous playing resume. And that is always a recipe for disaster. Being a good player does not make you a good coach. Is he a good coach? Maybe, but before we go give him the keys to a World Cup team that we're hosting in 2026, I sure would like to see him prove it somewhere. And he's been at 4 stops and yet to truly prove that he can do it. And so why are we just assuming that he's the guy? I just don't get it. But I think I can understand why he is so attractive to U.S. soccer, because he is everything that Gregg Berhalter is not. He is the complete opposite of Gregg Berhalter in every single way. One of the knocks on Berhalter is that he was too casual and too laid back with the players. The players have come out and said that they loved playing for him. Well, that's because he was a laid back guy and he sort of let them run the locker room, the dressing room, and he deferred to them on a lot of things. We have detailed proof of them kicking players off the team or having a part in the selection and various things. He was very much a player's manager. Patrick Vieira is not. He's not going to be. He is a guy who's going to knock some skulls together. He is going to come in and he's going to yell and he's going to demand things of them. Could they use that? Probably, but there are lots of managers who have better qualifications who also do that. So that is a very anti-Berhalter quality and probably a good one for the United States. But that alone is not enough to give him a job. If you just want a tough yeller screamer, you can find lots of them who have won more games. But he is so anti-Berhalter in every way. Commanding presence, authority figure, will demand a lot out of the players, will be more intense. He's not American. He had a distinguished playing career. He's everything that Gregg Berhalter is not. But I don't think it was necessarily Berhalter's style that was the problem. It was his tactics. It was his tactics on the pitch. Has Patrick Vieira shown to be some sort of genius tactician, or are we just hoping to play some sort of basic style and he lights a fire under them? Is that what we're going for here? I don't know. This feels like the pendulum swinging the complete other direction to make up for what Gregg Berhalter was. We've identified his shortcomings, and now we want a coach who is different in every way in those shortcomings. And yeah, well, okay, mission accomplished if it's Patrick Vieira. He is, in fact, very different than Gregg Berhalter. In all of the ways Berhalter was bad, Vieira is different. I don't know that that's better. Like I said, I think the personality in the dressing room, the intensity might be better. But other than that, is just not being American a qualification? No. Is just not having most recently coached in MLS, in fact, a qualification? No. Is having won a World Cup as a player and been a tremendous player for clubs like Arsenal and Juventus and these big clubs in Europe, is that on its own a qualification? No. So I don't understand the qualifications of Patrick Vieira other than he's Patrick Vieira. And that's not good enough for me. A big name with a distinguished playing career and a bunch of coaching stops, all of which ended poorly and more quickly than we'd like, is not the guy I'm looking for. So I don't know if this is going to end up happening or not, but if it does, I'm not excited about it. Color me not excited about it. Again, not that Vieira isn't a good coach. I'm not saying he's terrible, he's a bad coach, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's a bad choice. I'm saying he's unproven at this point. Despite having 4 stops, he has yet to prove that he is truly a good coach or manager. And that feels like one hell of a roll of the dice as we go into a World Cup. I don't think I quite get it. That doesn't seem like the best we can do. But what do you think? Give me your thoughts. Get down in that comments section for me. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited about Vieira? Do you remember him from his playing days? Is that why you're excited? Tell me why. Tell me why he's a guy we should be excited about down in that comment section. You can also leave some comments on Twitter at PitchsidePub. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button for me so you can follow the channel and check out our website, pitchsidepub.com, where you can sign up for our free newsletter. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.